Alright, this is your last video. So a couple things I want you to double check. Make sure that you have your wheelchair axis 30 by 30 inch square in here with a label that says wheelchair axis. It would be good to have some overall dimensions on this. You must, though, have dimensions for your closets. You can see it's 2 feet. And since these are all on the same wall, I can see these are all 2 feet. And your hallways, this is 3 feet 6, this is 3 feet 6. You have to show me that those dimensions are exact as they are. You probably also are going to have dimensions in your bedrooms. That's a good thing to have those dimensions. And make sure that your tub is surrounded on 3 sides like this one is. I added 2 sinks. You don't have to have that. And then last, your kitchen is fully furnished, that you have a dishwasher. Mine is underneath this counter. You have a sink, a range, and a refrigerator. So if you're missing any of those things, and the washer and dryer, if you're missing any of these things, pause it and go back and put those in. You can look at the screen as kind of a reference. So make sure those are in there. So if they're in there, then you're in good shape. Now we're going to add these to our sheets, and so we can print them. So since we are going to make sheets A1 through A3 ourselves, if you scroll down here, you can see there's a ton of sheets already pre-made. We're not going to use these because we don't have paper that big. So I'm going to just click on this and hit the delete key. You can also just right click it and hit delete. So I'm going to delete A1 through A3. We're going to make our own A1 through A3. So now if I right click on sheets, I'm going to do a new sheet, and I'm going to load and show you where this exists in US Imperial Library. You go down to title blocks, and we're going to load the A. So you've done this before. And there we go. So now it put it down, probably down here, probably called it E3 or something like that for you. I've done a few practice, so let's name this way down to E7. So I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to put it as A1, and I'm going to call it First Floor Thomas. So I'm calling it First Floor Thomas because I want to make sure that I have, I can find this again. So put your name in there. So we got First Floor Thomas. Now scroll up to First Floor up here and click it and drag it into there. And whoops, that didn't quite work. I just had to click. It was just waiting for me to click. So that's way too big. I need to change that scale, and it's likely that you're going to have to use 3/16 to an 1/8. I'm going to see if 3/16 fits on mine. And it is really, really close. I think I can get that to fit in there. So what I'm going to need to do is move this dimension, the wheelchair axis thing in there. So I'm going to double click it and double click it. There we go. And now you can see I can highlight individual elements. So that means I can edit this. So if you have a text box that's outside, you need to click this little thing here, move that in there. And then I need to move this dimension in there. So that gives me my first floor on this sheet. There's a couple other things I need to do. I'm going to go back to first floor, and again, you did this when you did your shed. I had these crop windows that are huge, so they should be showing. If they're not, you're going to have to click this crop region. Mine says hide, so that means they're already showing. So I'm going to drag that in there, so I don't have these little. These are little elevation view tabs. I don't want to show those. There we go. And now I'm going to hide the crop region. So that's the last thing you want to do. So first floor now looks good. I pulled those dimensions in. Now if I go down to First Floor Thomas, open that up, and open up the sheet itself, that looks really good. So let's leave that one for now. We're going to add our second sheet. So my second sheet, and that should be loaded in there. The second sheet is going to be called, so let's see. Oh, look, for me it put it down as A2. That's great. So I'm going to right click that. I'm going to rename this. And A2 is what I want. And this one's going to be called Kitchen and Kitchen ISO. So Kitchen ISO Thomas, because I'm going to get my kitchen view and isometric view. So Kitchen ISO Thomas, and let's start by just going to our 3D view. And if you don't have one in there, I'm just going to click that ISO view. So right now my roof is not currently showing. I want to show my roof again. So if you hid yours, so I'm going to reveal the hidden elements. I'm going to right click on this and unhide that element. So now I click on the light bulb again. Now it shows my house. I like this ISO view. I want to be able to see your front door. So you can choose either corner. I don't really care which corner you choose, but this is going to show me that you've done your roof slope correctly. So that's my current 3D view. And I'm going to go back to Kitchen ISO, and I'm going to put that one in right here on the top. Use the arrow key, kind of slide it up a little bit more, and that looks pretty good right there. And I can, if I click on just this little 3D thing, I can move that line. If I click on the building, I get the tabs, I can shrink that up. So that kind of gives me a little bit more space for my kitchen view. So that's my ISO view. Now I want to go to a kitchen view. So hopefully you've done a walkthrough. I've done a walkthrough and I created a camera view, but I want to just click camera. Again, I went to view, 3D, camera, in the first floor, and I'm going to click it and drag it to the kitchen. I need to be able to see your kitchen. And that actually shows it pretty good right there. It shows all my cabinets, all the components that I have. Now, if in the end, if your sink never actually cut out through your countertop, don't worry about that. So if it doesn't show really everything you need, you can click this little wheel here and then click look and kind of move it around. But this arrow key is actually arrow left and right, so it's just kind of like a first-person game here. So let me bring it in there. That looks pretty good. Now that view is under 3D View 6. I'm going to rename that Kitchen View. And now I never actually want to change that view. If I change that, it's going to change it on the sheet. So let's go to A2, and I'm going to add Kitchen View. I'm going to click and drag that, put that right here. If it puts it on top of your ISO view like it's doing for me, then I'm going to use the arrow keys and bring it down as low as I can so it's not actually blocking this stuff. But then if you go to size crop, the height is 4.5 inches, so let's just make it 4 inches. Delete that. Click OK. So you can see it shrunk it up a little bit, and then I can drag it down a little more, and then I can click and drag that one up. So that looks pretty good. Now I get a view of both of them in there. You also have the option to change your ISO view. If I go back to 3D and I drag this corner up, you can see it kind of changes that view a little bit. Anytime I change it on 3D view, it will change it in here. So you really only want to do this when you're ready to print. Because if I end up going back to ISO view and changing the way this looks, it will change it on that sheet. You don't want to do that until you print it. Then last, I'm going to right click, I'm going to do a new sheet. Yes, we'll save this. And we're going to do an A3, and that's going to be a section view. So we have this already preloaded. Click OK. And now we need to go back into first floor, and I'm going to create a section view. If I click up here on the View tab, and mine was already selected, then I want to choose Section. And we're going to create a section view. You want to do it on the slope part of your roof. So my left and right side, this right side and left side, those are gable ends. I don't want a section of that. I want a section from here. So I'm going to click inside the house and then click outside the house. And I don't actually need it to go all the way to the back wall. So this little dotted rectangle really should not have anything else in here. No windows, doors, nothing, just the wall. And now when I go down to sections over here in your project browser, it added section. So if I open that up, this is what it shows. So I can see the roof here. I can see all this information. Now we're not going to individually label all this this time. We're going to save that for after we put in the foundation walls and the footing second semester. So I'm going to actually drag that crop down. I'm going to bring this one. This one's okay because I want to include the word foundation. Anyway, that looks good that way. We just need to change this detail to fine. And now what that shows me is that you have the correct wall type. It shows me you put a ceiling in. It shows me that you have the correct roof type and that you have a floor and it goes all the way outside edge, so I can see all that information. So that's important that I can check all that. So make sure your picture shows that. Then we're going to go to A3, which I didn't name yet, so let me name that one as Section View Thomas. And I'll open that up and then drag in my section view. And since that's all I have, I can make that scale quite large. So bigger is up here. So let me go to a 1/2 inch and see if a 1/2 inch actually fits in there. And that fits in there pretty well. I can't drag this up here. All I can do is resize that unless I click outside. Then I can click and drag that. So now you can see my crop window view is available. If I double click this, then I can, you know what, I may actually show a little bit more since I have a big sheet here. Now I can hide the crop region and click outside here so the whole sheet is showing, and there we go. So that's centered quite well. It looks like this is starting to show the outside edge of a wall. So, you know, if that's the case, you can adjust your crop so it doesn't show that, but that should be all that I need for the section view. And the last thing we need to do is print these 3 sheets. So let me show you how to print these. But before I show you how to print, one last change. Go to your kitchen view and make sure that this is set to consistent colors. So that way it prints your kitchen view sheet with shades. It'll be black and white, but it still will be a lot easier for me to see what's going on. So now we go up to the Revit icon and we're going to export this, images, and we do image. And really important here that you change this and navigate to a place that you can find, all right, that you know where these files are. So you don't have access to save it to the desktop. I do, so I'm gonna do that right now just so I can show you really quick where these are. So I'm gonna save these or select that as the option, and now I want you to choose selected views and sheets. So hit this button here and then click select, and then go down and check all of your sheets, A1 through A3. Then click OK. And then last, we're going to click on Zoom to, this one here, this button, and then change it to 100%. And then this should be set to 300. So these are all your presets. Once you've done that, click OK. And now it's saved all of those to your drive. So I'm going to minimize this. And these are my 3 things that were saved. So I'm going to just open up this one here. Then all we got to do is click on print and just click print, and it will all come out looking fantastic. So that's all that you need to do to get these printed. Once you have that done, turn them into me stapled, and you're good to go.